This is the ultimate list of the top 10 most hated bands of all time and why they're hated. So 10th, in my opinion, the most hated band is Slipknot. So firstly, before I get into it, remember there's no way to properly rank how hated a band is. So if you disagree with any of these takes, comment your opinion down below. So Slipknot, why are they hated? Well, the main reason why I think they're hated is because of how theatrical they are. It seems like they're trying to be edgy, for the sake of it, which really puts a lot of people off. And they claim that they're not real metal because, I don't know, they've got clean singing, and so that's a claim that gets thrown around a lot. But their genre is at the midpoint of nu metal, death metal, industrial metal, all sorts of different metal genres, so that you don't really get the fan base of either genre to properly like Slipknot. Nonetheless, they are definitely one of the most popular metal bands of all time, which is why they're 10th. 9th goes to Linkin Park, and I feel like the main reason they're popular, they're hated is just because of how mainstream they are. They are like the face of nu metal, the face of heavy music to a lot of people. So just because of how mainstream they are, they get a lot of haters. That's just how it works. A lot of people argue that their early songs are very repetitive, which I can definitely see. A little bit. And they also changed their style a lot in the 2010s, which left a lot of people feeling a bit betrayed and added to the hate. So overall, Linkin Park definitely is a bit of a hated band, but not as hated as the ones coming out. In 8th, we've got U2, mainly because of Bono. People just hate Bono, mainly because of he seems quite hypocritic in a lot of senses. I don't really know much about U2 or Bono in general, so I can't really comment on this. But there was also that entire iTunes drama in the early 2010s. I'm not sure exactly when it was, when they downloaded their album onto everybody's phone. So I don't think that helped them either. That made them feel a bit self-centered or something. Very hated, and I kind of want to know more about U2. So we've got My Chemical Romance. I might move this down a little bit. Not sure if it deserves 7th. I'm not sure how many active haters they have, but they're generally hated because they're like the face of emo music. All their lyrics are very overly emotional, quite dramatic, but they have a really dedicated fan base. Like a lot of these bands, most of these bands do have a dedicated fan base. A lot of people hate them nonetheless, which is why My Chemical Romance I put here, just because a lot of people joke about how emo they are. 6th, this makes sense, Metallica. Either you love them or you hate them. That's probably not true. A lot of people are just neutral. The first point that kind of makes sense is they're accused sellouts. They started with that thrash metal style, but by the 1991 period where they did the Black Album, they were much more polished and more mainstream. The common theme that you see here is that these are massive bands, the people that are mainstream, the people that are the face of a genre. For example, Metallica is literally like the face of metal to so many people. So just being that popular will obviously get you the most haters. Anyway, they're definitely accused of being sellouts. And another thing that kind of gets them hated is how they treated some band members, like firing Dave Mustaine, their treatment of the bassist Jason Newsted. So overall, things like that can really add to it. But overall, I like Metallica personally. In 5th place, the most hated band of all time, I've got Imagine Dragons. So these are a lot of people that don't even consider rock, but I think they are a pop rock band, so I'm adding them on this list. The main reason they're hated is just because of how popular they are. They are as mainstream as it can get. Every single song in their top 10 most streamed has over 1 billion streams, for perspective. That's exactly why they're very hated. Because of their general pop rock style, they can't really get the best of either fan base. Similar to what I was saying with Slipknot, blending lots of styles is often not a good idea because you can't really get the best of either fan base. All the pop people don't like the rock side of things, all the rock fans don't like how poppy some of the songs are, so it can definitely get hated for that. Corny lyrics are another thing that gets them hated. A lot of their most popular songs are very repetitive, but I'll have to say that I think Imagine Dragons are great. I've always loved them. I've never seen a problem with them. I can definitely get behind the idea that their most popular songs aren't great. I don't like Thunder. I think there's a lot of alright ones there, nothing special. Where they really shine is the underrated stuff. Listen to Night Visions, listen to Smoke and Mirrors. I think they're a great band. Okay, 4th, in my opinion, this is the band that shouldn't be on this list at all, but I don't know why people hate them. This is Creed. I think their music's great. Like, I think there's nothing wrong with it. When I was listening to it before, knowing about them being hated, I just didn't understand why people hated them. Anyway, apparently Scott Stapp's vocals is a thing that people don't like. I've never found a problem with their vocals, but apparently people don't like them, and they're kind of like a Christian rock band but didn't label themselves as that, so that annoyed both sides. So overall, those are the main things, and I heard this term being thrown around, and I love this term. This is called diet grunge. So it's like that grunge 90s style, but dieted down for more mainstream audiences. So I can definitely see how that's happened, late 90s, early 2000s diet grunge, and I kind of like that label, so fair enough, but I don't know why people hate them that much. I definitely think they're very, very overhated. Not a band, but Kid Rock is third. I wanted to include this just because of how hated he is. The main reason for this is too many genres. He's dabbled with rock, he's dabbled with rap, he's dabbled with country, and he can't keep any of the fan bases. Each one, aren't really committed to him, in my opinion. Apparently, he's really bad with live shows. Like, his behaviour is horrible, so this definitely gets him a lot of hate. Politics, he's very outspoken with politics. He's not sugarcoating anything, so that's obviously a surefire way to get yourself hated. And I feel like the kind of thing that's added most to hate is the fact that he is hated. Eventually you get to a level of hate that it kind of snowballs, so being hated is turned into a meme and hating it's normal. So eventually hating Kid Rock just became normal, so everybody did it. Anyway, I've never even listened to a Kid Rock song, so I've got no clue about any of these things, and I'd love to know more, basically. Okay, top two. I feel like you already know what they are. Nickelback. Yeah, you expected Nickelback to be number one, didn't you? You really thought they were going to be number one. No, I put it in number two, and I'll tell you why in a second. But they're very popular. I've said this before. All the very popular bands are just hated. That's how it works. More people listening, more possible haters. I feel like it's another part of that diet grunge. That end of the 90s, 2000s. Same thing as Creed, just that post-grunge style that people don't like. And Chad Kroger's voice is apparently really bad. I can see why it can get a little bit annoying, but I don't think there's anything wrong with his vocals. I kind of struggle to find reasons why they're so hated. Yeah, they're a bit repetitive. Yeah, people can call them sellouts, but realistically, there are things lower down that make much more sense to hate. I've got no clue why Nickelback is so hated, but it definitely became that snowball that I was talking about earlier, where hating it became normal. But the reason I've put second and not first is literally because people are recognizing how overhated they are. They get hate, then people think, why are we hating on them? And then that's a little resurgence for them. So I feel like nowadays most people don't actually hate them, they just make it a little joke and actually listen to them. I think they've got some great songs, and they definitely are hated, but not as much as number one, in my opinion. So I've got a long list here. Limp Bizkit is the most hated band, in my opinion, and let's go through these pointers. Firstly, corny, dramatic lyrics. That's the main thing. They're just wanting attention in every lyric, very dramatic. I've recently made a video about Limp Bizkit. You can go and watch it here, and I definitely understand this point. And similarly, you've got Fred Durst, I think that's how you say it, I don't know. His personality and feuds with other musicians, he's done plenty of arguments with other musicians. His kind of personality is very annoying to most people. It's just stupidly aggressive to the point that it sounds stupid. And finally, Woodstock 99. I don't know much about this event, but it ended in like riots and all sorts of horrible things happened at the end of Woodstock, and Limp Bizkit was the headliner, so that makes all the sense there. Apparently they fed the fire, they kind of encouraged all the whatever happened there. I'll be honest, I don't know that much about it, so I'd love to know more in the comments. But similarly to Nickelback, not quite at that level, but they are having a little bit of resurgence because of how hated, and then people go against the hate, if that makes sense, but not as much as Nickelback. They're still definitely the most hated band of all time, in my opinion. You can tell me if you disagree in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like down below. If you enjoyed my content, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.